Good day to you, sir Ignacio. Today I'll be presenting the last written demonstration all about the chest PA and the lateral. So, ang kanyang IR sizes and DSID are both similar to each other. So, for the IR size is 14 by 17 inch, or in centimeter is 35 by 43 centimeter. Lengthwise if normal na patient, and crosswise naman if hypersthenic ang patient or mataba. And for the SID, same lang din sila, which is 72 inch SID as a minimum para ma-decrease ang magnification of the heart and to increase the recorded detail on certain thoracic structures. And for my final return demonstration, I'll be using my face towel as my gonal shield, then my USB as my marker, and then my collimation box for the central ray and beam. And I will also be using our refrigerator as my vertical grid device and image receptor. First is positioning the patient. So if possible, always examine the patients upright, either standing or seated, so that the diaphragm is at its lowest position and the air and fluid levels are seen. Then ask the patient to face the vertical grid, the vertical IR. Then ask the patient to let their arms hang at their sides with the IR heart adjusted. Padikit sa may IR to decrease OID. And then the upper border of the IR should be 1.5 to 2 inches above the relaxed shoulders. And then the center mid-sagittal plane of the patient's body is also centered with the IR midline. Then have the patient stand straight with both body weight on both feet equal. Then ask the patient to extend the patient's chin upward or over the top of the grid. And then ask the patient to flex the arms and rest the back of the hands low on the hips below the costophrenic angle levels. This is to rotate the scapula laterally so that they are not superimposed over the lungs. Then depress the shoulders and then rotate it forward to position them below the lung apices. Then place the gonal shield between the X-ray and the pelvis for alara protection. And then put the IR or put the central beam perpendicular to the center of the IR and should enter at the level of T7. The exposure should be made after the second full inspiration to ensure maximum lung expansion. Proceeding on with the lateral chest projection, the patient's position is still upright, either standing or seated. Then turn the patient into a true lateral position with the arms by the side. So if left side ang against IR, para ma-visualize ang heart and left lung. Pero ang right side naman is the best demonstration of the right lung. Pero since heart and lungs ang hanapin natin, ang left lateral ang ginamit ko. So the mid-sagittal plane should be parallel with the IR's long axis. The adjacent shoulder should touch the grid device, with the thorax centered to the grid. And the mid-coronal plane is perpendicular or centered to the grid midline. Then have the patient extend the arms upward with the elbows flexed and the forearms resting on the elbows. Then ask the patient to hold this position. The upper border of the IR should be 1.5 to 2 inches above the shoulders. And you can also recheck the body position kasi if nakalin ang patient against the grid, can cause foreshortening. And if bag-bend forward naman, baka ma-distort ang mga structural outlines of the thorax. So the lower part of the thorax and the hips are at a greater distance from the IR because this is necessary for a true lateral projection. Then shield the gonads, and like before, the exposure should be made after the second full inspiration to ensure maximum lung expansion. The central ray is still perpendicular to the central IR, and then centered to the T7 or the inferior aspect of the scapula.